Hi everyone, today I will be doing an analysis on Parktown residences. So this is something that is very exciting in the East because in the East, there's only two integrated right now, which will be Pasir Ris 8 as well as Bedok residences. So if you're an Eastie and you're looking for an integrated project, this could be something that's very interesting for you. And for me, myself, I stay in Tampines, so this project is something that I look forward to and is very highly anticipated. So in this analysis, I will be talking about the floor plans as well as which unit type to go for, and as well as whether the price would be a reasonable price point for you to enter considering the resale surrounding transactions. Okay, so right now the preview should be ongoing already. The preview is on the 7th Feb, which is happened, and the booking day will be on the 22nd of Feb. So this booking day also coincides with ALTA as well. So I'm sure those who are looking at ALTA will be looking at Parktown and vice versa. Alright, so and on the booking day of 22nd Feb, the preview for Lentor Central would be out as well as Resale as well. So we can see that the launch for the different projects have been coming out back to back. And this is something that's very exciting because if you're looking to enter into a project, the developers would have to price it quite sensitively so that they will actually have a good hit rate as well. So for the previous launch, like for example, EOK, Chuan Park, these projects have been performing very well on the booking day, more than 50% sold, even Ori as well. So I'm sure the developers for Parktown will be looking forward to have such a high take-up rate as well. Alright, so let's look at the artist impression. So in the artist impression over here, we can see that for Parktown residences, there will be integrated right below. So below will actually be the commercial units. So in this side, you can see that it's actually a very big development. And we actually have a few function rooms because there'll be a Park West, Park East as well. So they actually have their function rooms and swimming pools all scattered around. Even for the gym for this kind of mega size condo, they actually have two gyms as well. For Treasure at Tampines, there's only one central gym, which can be quite packed considering the size of it. Alright, so for Parktown residences as an integrator, what do you have? You actually have retail mall with shops, F&B, commercial, outdoor recreation area. You also have a community club and a hawker center right below your unit. So this is something that is very convenient. Let's say if you're looking to have something that's all in one, your bus interchange is also right below. Right now, there is a short-term bus interchange that's on the other side, which will be moved below to Parktown residences. Alright. So as I was mentioning, in Singapore, there's only a total of 9 integrated developments over here. And right now, this is something that is very rare and very highly anticipated. In the East, there's only Pasir Ris 8 as well as Bedok residences, which I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to because Singaporeans, we actually view convenience at our fingertips as one of the top priority. Yeah? Alright, so for example, over here, right now, just to give you an example of how large Parktown Residence is, when we look at the land area, Parktown Residences is 50,680 square meters in size, and this land is actually the largest in the whole of Singapore for the integrated. Compared with your very famous, which is like Sengkang Grand Residences, this is only 37,000, and everything else is actually much smaller in this sense. So even for the residential unit, we actually have 1,193 units available in Parktown residences. So with this, you even have a hawker center, which only Sengkang Grand Mall also has. Yeah, so this is something that you may want to consider, let's say if you're looking out for the convenience of having food right below your doorstep. Alright, so when we look at the information about Parktown residences, this is actually jointly developed by 3 developers, Capital Land, UOL, and Singapore Land. So these 3 are actually very reputable developers, and they all have came together to actually develop this Parktown residences. And it's also interesting to note that for this we have Capital Land, which I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. So it's good to have Capital Land, and I'm quite sure that they will be the one that will be managing the tenant mix. So that will be better as well because it's not strata divided. You actually have a landlord that actually will provide a very good mixture of tenants for your retail malls. Alright, so in this case, let's take a look. The TOP date is actually end of 2028. This is the estimated. So for integrated, do note also that there's a lot of things that have to come into place for it to be completed, because as an integrated, they have to seek a lot of approvals with the linking together with the MRT, linking together with the community center. So this would probably take a while, but it will be usually 1 to 1.5 years earlier where people can collect their keys. All right, and but also do note, just like Pasir Ris 8, usually the mall component would be open earlier, about 1 year earlier. So Pasir Ris 8, I think some of them have not collected their keys yet, but the mall has already been open. Yeah, so this is also would be earlier because the MRT which will be ready, it's only in about 2030. So do note you have about 2 years before the MRT is fully ready. Okay, right, with the MRT you do not have one-to-one parking. Right now you will have about basement residential car park 961 units, which is pretty good because usually the one bidders or the two bidders, they tend not to drive as well. They would probably take the bus or take the MRT. All right, so let's take a look at the next. So where is Parktown located? All right, so when we look at Parktown residences, Parktown is actually in this area. This is actually Tampines North. Is the extension of Tampines itself. And this part, it has not been fully developed yet. There's a lot of growth and transformation in this area compared to the heartland of Tampines, which will be in the this central region where you have your 3 mega malls, Tampines 1, Century Square and Tampines Mall, which I'm sure if you're Eastie, this is usually always very crowded, but you can get everything you want over here for your 3 malls, yeah? Okay, so when we look at Tampines North, this part here is closer towards the IKEA Giant and your Courts Mega Mall. So this side over here, it's actually also very convenient because you can be direct. It's just a quick turnout and you can link to your TPE as well. Okay, so for Parktown residences, in this area over here, you have your Tampines North bus interchange right now, which is right beside. This will be fully integrated into Parktown itself later on. So for Parktown itself, we have quite a few schools around the area. We have Angsana Primary School, Poi Ching Primary School as well. So these two, and I think some people will be very keen to look at St. Hilda's Primary School also. Alright, so let's take a look at this map that I've drawn out, which would probably be your exit plan if you do intend to sell Parktown residences. So if you can see over here, Parktown residences is actually surrounded by all these HDB upgraders, which have not MOP yet or would soon to be MOP when Parktown is ready. Okay, so and right beside Parktown residences, you also have Orel of Tampines as well as Tenet. Now these two, usually when ECs, when they cash out, they usually cash out with quite a tidy profit, and they will be looking to upgrade as well to probably something else. Okay, so for Parktown residences, definitely PSF would be higher than Orel and Tenet. So I would hear from my clients some of the concerns, which would be, if Orel of Tampines, they got in at about 1,700 PSF, is it still a safe entry to get into Parktown residences? Well, I would say this will also depend on your timeline horizon, because for EC, the minimum occupation period will be 5 years. So for them, they can only sell in about 2032. So for Parktown residences, the expected TOP will be about 2028. So you have about 3 years before Orel and Tenet actually MOPs, right? 3 to 2 years. So, and Orel and Tenet, they are also EC, so they do not have 1 and 2 bidders. So this could be something that you're considering as well, where you do not have these two which will be competing with you. And so when I look at the surrounding of Parktown, the number of BTOs supply in Tampines itself is actually very, very large. So this will probably form your next group of buyers. And when you look at the population of Tampines, okay, Tampines is a very, very densely populated residential. Okay, from last year, there's actually about 240,000 in Tampines itself. It's one of the most populated HDB estate in this area. So you can be rest assured that there will be a group of people that are looking into this area. And Tampines itself, usually people who are staying in Tampines are very, very comfortable within Tampines, because you can pretty much get everything you need within this township itself. A lot of people don't even need to travel out of Tampines to get whatever they need. Everything is supplied your IKEA, Courts, Giant, and your Tampines one, all the malls you need are actually within this estate itself. So when we look at the supply of Tampines itself, there's actually a very limited supply of condos that TOP from 2016. Considering this over here, we actually only have about 14 condos, not including Parktown and Orel because these two have not launched yet. Yeah. Okay, so when we look at Parktown residences, the break even for Parktown, after removing all the land costs and everything, the break even is about 1,661. So this Parktown residence, do note also, this is actually a harmonized project. So harmonized project, the estimated break even will be about 1,793 PSF. Alright, so the indicative prices have already been released by the developers from the 1 bidder all the way to the 5 bidders. From the 1 bidder, it's actually starting from 2,300 PSF, and the 5 bidders is about starting from 2,200 PSF. So when we compare this to the resale surrounding transactions, we'll take a look over here. So most recently, the TOP, which will be Treasure at Tampines, Treasure at Tampines have already gone for about 1,800 PSF, and it's already crossed the 1,800 PSF mark. So this is also not exactly cheap, because when you compare this Treasure at Tampines, this is actually pre-harmonized. That means you're actually paying for the aircon ledges. So when we increase up and we average out, it's about 1,900 plus for Treasure at Tampines. And do note that Treasure at Tampines is also not close to any MRT as well. And surrounding around the Tampines Avenue 10, where you have the whole stretch of condos over here, this one is also very far from any MRT and being any transport hub. So for example, over here, Arc at Tampines, Santorini, these have also crossed about 1,005 for the older ones. Tapestry, which is slightly newer, crossed about 1,800 PSF. So 1,800 PSF and it's already much older. The question is, would you be willing to pay about 200, 300 PSF more for something that is brand new and that right at your doorstep you have the convenience? So I think Singaporeans over here, that convenience factor is something that's very, very hard to beat, because when you, after work, when you just go down, have your hawker center right below, this is something that people would really value because it's right below your doorstep. Alright, let's take a look at the site plan from Parktown. So Parktown has been split into two. We have actually Park West and Park East. So the developers have actually nicely spread out the facilities. You have swimming pools both on the Park West and on the Park East. As well as your gym and the function rooms, they are also separated out very nicely, which is quite thoughtfully designed by the developers, because they do want to make sure that both sites have enough facilities. So when we look at the site plan and when we look at where the premium would be loaded on, I would say the premium in this case would be on the inwards facing, because on the inwards facing over here, you do have very confirmed views. Actually, from the block to block distance, you actually have a very good gap as well. And the cheaper facing will definitely be on the outwards facing. Okay, because the outwards facing, you are actually facing HDBs of surrounding future plots as well. So let me show you the next location view. So for this side, you're actually facing HDB, you're facing a school, Tampines Green Court, other HDB as well. So in this case, I would say if you choose the inward facing stack, you definitely have a very confirmed certainty of what your view is. Even for this side over here, these are actually future residential developments. Right now, let's say if you choose a facing over here, you do not know what your future residential development, when it's going to be built, because it's just a land that is designated right now. So eventually it will be built up to be something residential, a future condo or a future HDB. We are not too sure currently right now. So let's say if you're someone who is very affected by noise, this could be something for you to take note of, because in the future, when these residential developments start building, they would have a lot of noise for the constructing the foundation, and you're looking to sell, then this may affect your resale value for that short term. But if you're looking to hold on for a longer term, then I think this shouldn't be a problem, because you will just be staying for that few years where the construction is ongoing. Okay, so I think some other concern for this as well would be where the bus interchange is, because the bus interchange, the bus will be entering in and out of this area, you may hear some noise as well as the bus enters in and out, because you know, for the bus interchange, the frequency for the bus going in and out can be quite often, every 5 minutes. So if you're on the lower floor and you're very sensitive to noise, then this could be something for you to take note of. Okay, so for the inwards facing, definitely I would say you have a very good distance, and it's something that you can consider, let's say if you're really staying there. Okay, so the distance also for the next block also depends. I would say the cheaper facing would be the inwards facing as well, probably this stack over here, because you are facing each other, so the block to block could be quite close. So if you are someone who's an investor and you don't mind for the lower quantum, then this is something that you can consider to choose during your balloting day. Alright, so when we look at the unit mix by the developers, actually is spaced out between the one and two bidder actually have a 55% unit mix, which is quite a significant amount. The 3 bidders is 34%, and the 4 and 5 bidders is about 11%, which I think is pretty much quite a comfortable range and a unit mix distribution. So I would like to say that the size mix over here that the developers have come up with is actually quite big over here. So for the PSF wise, and this is also harmonized, so the quantum is actually quite high, I would say, if the developers are going to be launching at a higher PSF. So this developer would probably also need to launch it at a price that's reasonable for Tampines Eastsiders to accept at. Okay. So when we look at the study one bidder layout over here, for the one bidder layout, we actually have 2 sizes. So the bigger size is the 506 square feet, where the study is actually behind the master room over here. Compared to the other study, so the other study is situated in this corner over here, tucked into the corner. So, and in this case, there's actually many stacks of the 506. And this is a typical one bidder where you have the kitchen along your corridor space over here, and your toilet does not have a window. So between these two, the main difference would be the location and the place of the study. So I would say that between these two, my preferred layout would be if your study is actually behind the master room here and not tucked into one corner, because this is actually a little bit cramped with the wall separating here, and it could be quite dark as well. Yeah, so when I look at the PSF, the difference between these two, let's say for the study, the 506, let's say it's about 2,500 PSF, the difference will be about 100K difference for that study room and the additional space. So I think if you have the budget and you can go for it, then I think the location of the study would matters a lot for the resale buyers. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at the 2-bed 1-bath layout. So for the 2-bed 1-bath layout, there is BP1, BP2, and BP3. So between these three, actually the only difference would probably be the entrance over here, where you have either an elongated walkway or a shorter walkway, and the alignment of the room. So between these three, actually there is not much difference. The price could range from 1.3 to 1.53 mil. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at the 2-bed 2-bath layout. 2-bed 2-bath layout, there's actually a total of 5 different layouts. So we have BP1, BP2, BP3, BP4, and BP5. Between these three, actually there is not much difference, so let me go and show you this slide instead. Between this slide, BP1 to BP4, I would say they are all dumbbell layout, and you only have a slight difference which is the room alignment. So for example, this room alignment is like directly the dumbbell is situated side by side. This one, you know, one side is a bit lower for your room alignment. The only difference is your BP5. So BP5 is more of your traditional layout where all your rooms are tucked away into one side. So for BP5, the size over here is about 721 square feet. The other dumbbell layout, which is about 678 square feet. If you are looking to have something that's a little bit more different in the resale market, then I would say this traditional layout would be something that you can consider, because it's the only one available. The rest are all dumbbell layout. I actually have clients who are telling me that they do prefer the traditional layout and not the dumbbell layout. reason being that they said that they prefer for the dining area to be adjusted to fit into any position that they like. Because if you have the dumbbell layout, then they said that for the dining area, it's actually a pretty fixed position and you are facing maybe the bathroom. So this is actually a matter of personal preference. So if you were to take a look into the difference in between these two, let's say if it launches about 2,350 PSF, then the difference you're paying for this would be about 100K difference. So if you prefer the traditional layout, then that's about a 100K premium difference on your choice. So if this is something that you think that you would prefer to pay, then it could be something that some future resale buyers they do value in the market. Okay, so there is actually one more layout. So for the 2-bedders, there's also the 2-bed, 2-bath plus study, and this is at 764 square feet. So this plus study area here, you actually have this study which is behind your bath area here. So this is something that you may want to consider too. And let's say if you're comparing without the study, the traditional dumbbell layout, it's about 86 square feet in difference in the size. So how much are you actually paying for this? You would essentially be paying for this difference about 200K for that additional study room. So is this something that you actually need? Well, it depends whether you are really staying there for your own stay. If you are staying there for your personal own stay and you really need the space, you know, because it doesn't come in with it doesn't have a yard area, it doesn't have your storeroom, and you need this additional study space to really put your items, then I think it could be something that you can consider. Because for the next tier, if you're looking at the 3-bedder, it will already cross about 2 million already. So if you find that the crossing the 2 million mark for the 3-bedder may be something that's a bit tough for you to accept, then this study area could be something that come in handy if you're looking for your own stay. But if you're an investor and you are just looking to rent it out, then I would say that the additional study area may not be as necessary for you. Okay, so in this case, the range for the 2-bed 2-bath could range from about 1.5 to 1.728 mil, and the study 2-bed 2-bath plus study could range from 1.7 all the way to 1.9. Alright, so it really depends on the launch day, what is the price that comes out, and then do you think whether this would be something that is important for you to have. Okay, for the 3-bedders, there are actually so many different unit types that are actually available, which I will not go through in this video for the sake of time. But let's say if you're looking at the 3-bedders, you can also reach out to me and I can help you do analysis on that, which unit type would be more suitable for you. Because on the booking day itself, there's actually a lot of very quick movement that's ongoing. So based on your queue number, what is available and what's the best unit choice for you to go for. Alright, so by the time you see this video, the preview would have already been ongoing. And if you need any help in selecting your units, or you're looking at other projects, which is the upcoming one, Lentor Central or Resale, you can reach out to me, and my number is below here on the screen. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!